Hello, I'm Elgato and welcome back to another episode of my Minecraft Xbox Update Adventures Let's Play. This is the Let's Play where I've been playing through the various updates that have come out for Minecraft on the console, building stuff, killing stuff, and of course, destroying stuff. And as you can see, one of my biggest destruction projects is something I'm always working on. You'll probably see me working on it during Q&A Saturday, but it's something where I'm always curious as to like, this is getting bigger and bigger, but what are the kind of effects of that? So in today's video, one of the things I really wanted to do is kind of tour my world at night. I've shown off my world maybe like 4 separate times now over the years, but I've never actually shown off the world at night. And one of the things about this world at night that I figured would be interesting is at least this desert, but also just the lighting all over the world. One of the things, I feel like you've mastered Minecraft when you've lit up your world so no mobs can spawn anywhere, and that's always been kind of the end goal, but I've never really, like properly, worked towards it. Like, if I just made myself like 1,000 torches, I could probably cover most of the world, but I've never quite done that. Instead, what I just do is I'm like, oh, there's no torch there, let's place one there. I have some spare torches, and that's kind of just how I do things. So I figured it would be kind of interesting to kind of, just to see what my world looks like at night. So today we're doing a night, world night tour, a night world tour, whichever one of those two makes more sense. And also, I'm going to be doing a little bit of work on the hollowed out mountain thing. So this is one of those projects where I feel like now is just the best time to admit, I think I bit off more than I could chew. The whole goal of this thing, so I'm going to show you to the top because this is like the inside out kind of thing. The whole goal behind this, mountain project was to have an entire mountain that I hollowed out from the inside. But the truth is immediately after like burrowing into it, it seems fairly easy on the outside. Like, oh, this is probably what, like a destroyed chunk or two. But the truth is that mountains are so huge. Look at the size of this thing, and trying to hollow this whole thing out was like, I don't know, it's a needlessly long way about going about something, because if I just built a mountain from scratch, or at least the outside, even if I just tried to replicate this one from the outside, sorry about my voice there, even if I just tried to replicate this one from the outside, it'd be so much, easier and faster, etc., than to do it the other way, and it just raised the question of like, so why am I doing this in the first place? So, yeah, basically because of that, I figured, let's not properly go and, okay, wait, can I jump this gap? This could be one of the riskiest jumps I ever make. Okay, I made it. But yeah, basically, I figured, like, this is kind of silly. But instead of just, like, saying, well, I'm never going to work on it again, or saying, well, I'll just keep working, and eventually it'll be something. Where's the way back down, by the way? Over here, maybe? Okay, I've lost the way back into this place. Which I guess shows that it's well hidden at the very least. I know it's somewhere roughly over, let's just go in for the bomb again. But I figure rather than just like kind of saying that like it's useless or something, because I feel like there's two big kind of like instincts when you see you have a project that's just way too huge to even humanly, like properly, possibly work on. The instant reaction is to be like, well, let's just not work on it anymore. And the second instant reaction is like, well, let's just commit to it anyway. I guess the first one is to commit to it anyway, and the second one's just to give up. But I feel like this is a real problem. Like, I think you'll spot it everywhere in your everyday life. Maybe you will anyway. But basically, it's called the sunk cost fallacy. It's one of the biggest fallacies in the world that you can use to really, I guess, like, people use it to trick you to do a bunch of stuff. Like, it's the same reason when, the reason I guess gambling is addictive is, I've seen a bunch of, I've spoken about the whole gambling thing before, like how you see people sometimes at casinos that are just like, whoa, that is someone who has a serious problem. And the reason for it is if, like, you start winning once, you're like, well, I guess I'm always going to win now. And then once you start losing money, you're like, oh, I'll put in money to get the money back that I lost. And, that's the long story short behind the sunk cost fallacy. It also mostly applies to, like, businesses. Just because, you've already invested, like, 100 million making something, you shouldn't just, throw another 200 million figuring that 100 million's gone. Because the truth is regardless what you do now, that first 100 million is already gone. And, it's probably, like, a lot easier in your own life on a smaller scale. Like, oh, yeah. So I started working on, in fact, this is one of the most ridiculous examples, but it's like one of those things where, like, I really realized, like, oh yeah, there's a smart way to do this where I didn't have to do it this whole long way, and it kind of hurts when you first admit, like, I've done something, I've already been working on something that was a waste of time, but I think what hurts way more is if you, like, dedicate way more into that. Like, I mean, imagine, like, you realize when you're 2 years into, I don't actually know much about the university system, especially not around the world, but let's say you're 2 years into a degree. I want to say that's a thing that takes more than 2 years. So you're 2 years into a degree of medical science. That's a nice broad term. And then you realize, I hate blood. I just cannot stand the sight of blood. What am I even doing in this? Part of you would be like, well, why don't I just keep on sticking at it? Like, I've got 2 years of my life wasted on this. But I feel like there's always got to be a point where you just realize, like, no, just because I've done something now doesn't mean I have to do it in the future. And boom, that is the sunk cost fallacy. And I guess it kind of applies here in Minecraft. So yeah, basically I've got this like huge build idea that could have been this giant epic thing. Like imagine how the hollowed out mountain would have looked, but I feel like it's just too big. It's never going to get done if I like commit to it that way. So why not just commit to it being a slightly different project where it's going to be a hollowed out tunnel, maybe a series of hollowed out tunnels to go through the mountain and then up to the ceiling. They're going to be giant tunnels, so you can see that like I mined this personally. Again, it will hopefully even look better because if you see a hollowed out mountain, you got to assume that like someone just went in there and was like, yeah, I'm gonna build the mountain around it. But when you see a tunnel like this, you know that it was like hollowed out by hand. And I think every single time we make this a little bit bigger, that skeleton spawned right in front of me. See, that's an example of where we need to go around and place a torch over there. Yeah, sunk cost fallacy applies all the time. Honestly, like, you know, you get it in a whole bunch of different cases. Like, again, I feel like money's the biggest example, but it also applies to your time, I feel like, in a lot of cases. And if you pay attention to it and you pay attention to not doing it, then I feel like, again, it hurts at the time to make the decision. It always hurts to make, like, there's a lot of really good decisions out there, like, in the world, I'd say, in general, that need to be made, but no one wants to make them because, like, the moment you make the decision, it's going to be so painful just by itself. Not the overall thing, just the moment where you have to be like, oh yeah, well, that was a huge mistake. And, yeah, being able to make, like, big decisions like that, I feel like you could even, like, again, it's like used to trick people sometimes where you're like, well, you've been on the phone with me for half an hour. It's like, if you hang up now, then that'd be a waste of your half an hour. You might as well just sign up for our Windows. Or I feel like the worst one is when there's, like, people at your door, right? There's a few religions that do this, but, you know, a few religions go to your door and they're like, hey, we're just here to have a chat. And, well, I mean, I guess you've been here so long, you might as well just join our church, right? Again, it's like, I feel like that sort of thing's the same kind of idea, and I think that's actually almost like the idea behind any sales pitch, because I'm so convinced to this day, I'll say this a whole bunch, and I'll say it again now, but when you, whenever there's a salesperson who comes into your life in some way you don't want, because let's be honest, how often are you looking for someone to sell you Windows? Like, I'll be honest, I own lots of Windows. Actually, I probably own like 10 Windows in my house, and I think you're meant to get Windows replaced like every 10 years, I've heard, or like 15 years. But maybe that was a salesperson trick. But I'll be honest, I've never thought about buying Windows. And that's why it's like such a rude thing when someone comes into your life and is like, but wouldn't you like some? And the annoying thing to me is, though, the fact that, like, this actually works enough so that these people will continue to, like, bother me and then act like I'm the bad guy if I, like, turn them down. Like, wow, I come all this way out of my day to come to your house and try and sell you Windows, and then you don't even buy them. Like, what the heck? And, one of my favourite things about this, actually, is that I have a friend who used to work, AJ, you might know him from the Parrot podcast, but I have a friend who, like, used to work in sales. I think he sold, like, mobile phone or, like, landline contracts. Like, he sold some form of, like, phone-based thing. And the problem with trying to sell phones to people, right, you know, is the fact that, like, everyone already has a phone. Like, this actually, this happened, I think it's one of my, like, my phone provider or my broadband provider is always trying to sell me the opposite service. So, like, I'm always trying to get broadband sold to me, and it always comes down to, like, I'd even like to engage them, because I really like internet. Fun fact, do you want to know a crazy fact about me? I use the internet a lot. Right now, I'm using the internet on my Xbox One. And, you know, therefore, I'd actually be willing to, you know, get an upgrade or get a cheaper price or whatever. But it always comes down to, like, oh yeah, well, there's only one provider that offers this. But no, instead they'll be like, but what if you didn't need that thing? And then it's like, well, now you're trying to sell me a product that I literally have no use for. And it's like, so that's a thing that happens. But yeah, basically, I try to get that sold to me all the time. It's annoying. And because, you know, you run into this issue of, like, if you're trying to sell things to people who already have the things, it's really, really tricky to get them going. So you have to learn a bunch of, like, sales techniques to, like, trick people into it, I guess. It's not really tricking, it's, like, convince people it's worthwhile. And he told me a lot of these sales tricks, and I see them every single time someone comes to my door. So, for instance, like, if someone comes and starts speaking about, like, I guess about anything. Let's use the window example, because, you know, I'm really annoyed at, like, it's happened, like, 3 times now. I don't know if there's, like, a window business in my area, like, lots of windows being broken. Is it, like, was it 10 years ago the last time they were replaced? I don't know, but there is a serious number of people that knock on my door trying to sell me Windows. Again, it's, as in the, by the way, I mean, like, the thing on your window, like, on your, like, the holes you see out of, not the things on your PC, just to clarify. But yeah, basically, so there's a lot of people trying to sell me Windows all the time, just non-stop. And one of the tricks that my friend taught me that's like, oh yeah, this is, you know, this is a really good one. And I didn't like believe it was like useful anyway, but I've seen it happen a whole bunch actually with like charity people, and in particular the window person, but I've seen it done badly where, you know, I think it was like an Asian lady came to my door and was like, so we have this great window cleaning service. Someone, because you say, the trick is, I didn't actually say it, I just said like it exists. What you do is you say that people on your road have recently bought it. So for instance, you can see this in real life, he showed me it, like if you see a place of solar panels, like a house of solar panels, odds are, most of the time, or like a decent amount of the time, you'll see lots of the neighbors nearby also get solar panels, because you don't want to like miss out on something your neighbors have gone. It's some weird like psychological effect. So what salespeople try to do is they'll be like, lots of your neighbors have already done this, and you'll be like, whoa, my neighbors have done that, wow, I mean, I guess I kind of have to now. That's why charity people come in like groups of like, you know, like 6 or something, because they're like, look, our friends are speaking over there right now, and they're making the sale. Do you just hate, you know, like this or that? No, I feel like I was working on a video right now, and you interrupted to try and ask me for money. But yeah, that's all my point is that, you know, the trick they'll often do, and a trick that like doesn't even, I didn't even believe, but it kind of does have like a subconscious effect, is just to say like, oh yeah, well I mean your neighbors have got this, and are your neighbors dumb people or whatever? They don't say it that way, they just kind of like throw it out there as like a thing. But I just found it fascinating, and maybe you will too, because like it's the sort of thing where once you hear it, you kind of like don't unhear it. Also, I know my inventory is a mess. It always is a mess. That's kind of thing. Oh, I was meant to do the tour of my world at night, but we'll wait till next night. You know, we'll just do like we'll make it to the end of the video, and then people can be like, oh, I came here for the tour of the world at night, and instead Toycat's talking to me about Windows. What the heck is that all about? But yeah, so basically one of the things I've also been thinking about this week, besides Windows salespeople trying to say that like people in your area have bought Windows or solar panels or whatever it is. You know, fun fact by the way, I'd love to have solar panels. I just like, there's just no, I don't think it's like actually smart where I live, because like there's not much sun in the UK. If there was a rain panel, like a panel that could be powered by rainwater, then you better believe I could buy one of those and make money back in a year. But no, basically another thing I've been thinking about a lot this week is kind of like, I guess, YouTube and I guess like the standards for it and how they're always rising in a way. Because although you might think like, at the time, a lot of people say like, oh yeah, well, you know, I watch this YouTube channel and that YouTube channel. I feel like most people are subscribed to YouTube channels kind of in passing. Like, you know, I saw a few videos from that channel, and I guess I'll wait until I see some more. And YouTube kind of encourages this, so it's like, you know, just leave the channel if it hasn't changed to be this or that by the time you go. But I feel like this has like a negative long-term impact in terms of like, okay, well, I mean, I have, how many people have been subscribed to me for all 320 episodes? Like, you know, there's about 10,000 people that watch this every week. But how many of those have been watching the whole time? It kind of discourages you from being like, you know, watching the whole time. And the thing about that that's kind of upsets me is like, you know, it's really fun that there is like a hardcore basis of people who are always watching videos, but it's kind of weird that like YouTube is always trying to like push people forwards into new things. So like I don't understand the exact logic behind it, because in theory it'd make better content rise to the top, but in reality what it means is it means content that just like, there's like this standard on YouTube where you have to ask for more and more in the video. So for instance, back in the day, this is a fun fact you might not know, is asking for likes at all in the video. Like, you know, whether it was at the end or anywhere, like, if you asked someone for a like, that was kind of like a cheesy thing. Like, you know, I'll like the video if I want to, damn it. And honestly, a part of me still believes this, like, in terms of, like, I don't really want to be told, like, when I should like a video, because, you know, maybe I'll know when I like a video or not. But, no, this is a thing that, like, you know, at some point that was, like, I don't know how to describe it, like, scummy's not the word, but, like, you know, not accepted thing. And then it became like, well, of course you ask people to like the video, because, you know, if they're here at the end, then they probably did like it, and they will do that. So then it became like, oh yeah, well, then you ask them to like it at the start of the video. And this is something I still don't really like too much to this day. Like, it's kind of a necessary thing because of how things go. But the truth is like, if you do it that way, then it means that, you know, YouTube doesn't thrive based on, like, the content. It thrives based on how effectively you can ask people to like the video. Like, I don't want to go into the whole sales pitch. Like, I'd rather sacrifice in that way. But I feel like that kind of hurts the channel in the long run. Same thing with, like, now it's become, at the start of the video, before you've said anything else, you say, you know, like, first 20 seconds, it's, hey, guys, why don't you make sure you hit the notification bell? Because if people hit the notification bell, they'll see your videos and then they can like them afterwards. Whereas if you don't tell people to do that in the first 30 seconds, you know, then it's like, well, I mean, if you don't do that, then people just aren't going to see the videos, and it doesn't matter if they like it or not. And it's this kind of like weird arms race in a way, where I just feel like YouTube in a way should almost, I know that that's why it sounds like it's a good thing that's automatically done, but it just means that like I feel like what grows and shrinks on YouTube, in a big part, like not 100%, there's a lot of good channels that do their stuff, is based on like who can most effectively ask people to like video, because it used to have an effect, but if that doesn't have an effect, then it's B, like who can encourage you to subscribe the most effectively. That's why you see a lot of those viral videos on like Facebook and YouTube are just like, "What's up, guys? Why don't you smack the like button?" And it's like, oh man, that hurt my throat. But that's a, oh man, that really I'm bad at doing these YouTube impressions. Like it shouldn't hurt that much to do a screaming like the video or smash the like button. But it's funny, like you know, it's all about like you know, like how much you can encourage people to those things. And I've always thought like it's weird that it can end up that way. And I sometimes wonder like, is there an easy solution to this? And I think the easiest of solutions is to be like, well, I mean, why don't you just hit the bell for channels that you like? Like, you know, you're watching this right now. If you see one of those things, just skip past it in the intro. Just skip 20 seconds into the video, and then, you know, only build channels you like. But it clearly has an effect on some number of people, and I've always wondered who those people are, actually. I mean, maybe, like, there's got to be some people who are just swayed either way. Like, I bet if I did start saying at the start of my videos, make sure you bell me, and, you know, maybe at some point that will be the case. I don't want to say, like, it's the worst thing in the world, because, you know, I'd rather, like, you know, have videos where I say, bell me at the start than, like, have no videos at all. But I do sometimes wonder, because, you know, there's going to be some people who just see that and they're like, oh, I haven't belled Toy Cat yet, I should do that. But there's going to be some people, clearly, I mean, it must be the case, who are like, you know, I don't know who this Toy Cat guy is. This is my first video. I'm just watching him talk about Windows today, because that's what you know, I come to Toy Cat for all the best window-related commentary. And then apparently, he wants me to bell him, but I mean, I don't know what belling does, but I'll do it anyway. It has to be some amount of people like that, and that just makes me wonder, you know, like, is there any limits to what you could say? Could you just be like, you know, before you watch this video, make sure you go to shirts.ibxtoycat.com, buy 3 to 4 t-shirts. You need to buy at least 3 to 4. Make sure you subscribe. Then go ahead and mail $40 to this address right here. P.O. Box something something something, London. You know, just send money in an envelope addressed to Toy Cat. I'm sure the postal service will do it. And then what you want to do is you want to go to my YouTube channel. You want to load up my all videos playlist and just hit play on that. And then like go to you know, work or school or whatever. Then come back 12 hours later and then watch the video and make sure you smash all those things. And maybe if I do it like loud enough and like angry enough, people will be like, whoa, Toy Cat means business. If I don't smash the like button, he might smash me. I'm not sure. I don't get it at all. I don't get it at all. But as you can see, this tunnel, like, it looks bigger now, and it looks a little bit more, I think it's like, it needs to be more square to be impressive, like, on the inside and outside. Like, from this point onwards, we should be going for square. Oh no, but there's sand out there, so I think, yeah, we can't quite go there, even if we want to. So we'll have to, like, take that into effect, I guess, into account. But yeah, but square looks better, I think, in terms of, like, a giant tunnel. Oh look, an Edmund's come along to take my blocks. And then also the flooring, I think it should be consistently made of stone. Just to kind of show that, like, yep, this is a full-on mountain. Because I'd love to have, like, a giant, like, mountain gap underneath this. Like, it's a pathway above, like, a destroyed chunk or something. But I think that's, like, again, we gotta, like, look at sunk costs and realize that, like, that's too much or something. But yeah, I sometimes also wonder, like, maybe that's, like, how YouTube itself is going with, like, oh, yeah, what people expect from a video. Because, oh, that's a lot of flint. I always forget that I only get flint with this shovel. It's always a surprise. I'm like, oh. Well, that's nice, I guess. But yeah, but one of the things that I sometimes also wonder is, like, you know, how long, like, does a YouTuber actually have? Every YouTuber, I feel like, is stuck between, like, my YouTube channel is ending tomorrow, or my YouTube channel will never end. There are lots of YouTubers who generally believe, like, you know, both those things. But I sometimes wonder, like, you know, at some point, people are going to decide, you know, I'm bored of Toy Cat. That's something I guess you have to accept. That, like, again, there's only so many times I can talk about Windows, or, like, you know, there's only so many, you know, things people want to know about Minecraft before people are just like, you know, I'm out here. That's kind of fine. And it raises the question of, like, exactly how long is that kind of time, and what comes in to replace it, you know? Because I feel like the traditional knowledge would have been like, oh yeah, well, at some point they'll be like, oh, okay, that's the ceiling. So we'll leave that there for now, even though it's unimpressive. But it does cause a whole range of issues. But we'll get into those later. So let's just destroy this for now. Get a bunch of dirt. Oh, we're like 1 block below the surface here. I mean, that's kind of cool in a way, but also it makes the tunnel kind of pointless. So let's not think about that too much. Let's instead go outside. Nighttime is coming. It's like maybe, I think like 4 minutes away. 3 minutes away. It's hard to time night times exactly, because it's like the day in Minecraft's a bit weird. But the sun is there. It's setting soon. So we'll sort our inventory. We'll work out like a start point for a fly tour. And let's go ahead and do that. So, first of all, actually, is there a furnace? There's no furnace in here even. I've got more furnaces for the big furnace though. So first of all, we're going to go ahead, throw all the cobblestone in here. I know I have too much cobblestone just in the wild. Like at some point, I should stop even collecting it. But what if I want to make like an even bigger cobblestone cube? Like it, Minecraft is all about resource collection and like eventually using those resources, so it's kind of fun. And yeah, that means we have some spare time. And one of my favorite things, I do it a lot in background gameplay, so I try not to do it too much in the Let's Play, is destroying the sand. Like it's just so much fun to me. But you know, we'll treat ourselves just a little bit, like just for a few shovelfuls, and then we'll go back to the other base with all the sand we collect because we need that. We need sand there anyway, I'm sure. So that's a lot of sand. Get some sand from over here. Place down a torch or two. The last of my torches it is. And then we're going to fly back to my... I guess we'll fly to my old house. And we'll do like a square around the world. So we'll fly from there to there and see everything in between. So let's fly. Go up as high as we can. And then go back down. So yeah, basically, I sometimes wonder about that sort of thing. Especially like, there's lots of seasons in YouTube where like it goes up and down, like the September crash or whatever. So many, especially Minecraft YouTubers, because Minecraft YouTubers, like I said, in general, aim at younger people, and therefore, I guess younger people are more affected by going to things in September. But then oh jeez, it always kind of raises the question of like, I wonder if how many people who subscribe to me are like interested, and how many people are just like accidentally finding their way here, because I know that like 1/3 of my views now come from subscribers, which is probably above average. I mean, in terms of the grand scheme of things, but it's still it raises questions that we don't necessarily know the answer to, but questions that I wanted to talk about anyway. So yeah, we're gonna go to the top of this mountain, and then that can be our start point, and let's do a world tour of the world at night. So if that's what you came here for, I'm so sorry. I realize like in my head sometimes I'm like planning like, I think I'll call this video world tour at night, and then do it like 5 minutes in. And this is 21 minutes in, almost 22 minutes in. So, not quite perfect, but, it's fine, it's fine. So, yeah, I want to see what the world looks like at night, because I have so many light sources placed down in theory. Let's see how many, though, by checking out the world. So, first of all, as you can see, the big field is deliberately left dark. There's 2 torches on there for some reason, and you can really see the torches and, like, their effect they have from up here, so... That's kind of fascinating. I might do something like a tutorial on light actually from up here, because it's a lot easier to see how lighting can affect. Like this is like inspiring a video on the spot right now. But yeah, we'll fly around the world. We'll start with my like farms over here. You can see how the boat slide is very well lit up. The farms are incredibly well lit up, besides the potatoes for some reason. Oh, on the top of the wheat farm, that is poorly lit too. Then looking up here, we've got some random. You can really see like every single torch in the world this way. The wall is fairly well lit up until this point. Like, it's only a random stretch of the wall that's lit, and then it just kind of like, I gave up on that, I guess. The mountain's kind of well lit. But in general, oh, and then there's also some like upper levels of the sugarcane farm that have some lighting on, but not all of them. Just like some random levels. Maybe I should like make that consistent sometime. Then you can see the top of here was meant to be entirely lit. I guess I ran out of torches. Running out of torches seems to be a consistent theme in my lighting for this world, doesn't it? Like, I'll place torches everywhere, then I'll just run out somehow. Then you can see this village, again, lit up because I didn't want mobs coming in. I'm not sure why, actually. I guess I just figured it'd be fun to have lighting there. The boat, well lit, of course. Don't want mobs to spawn in there. The sky rail is, like, incredibly well lit because you can't have mobs spawning there, or they literally reverse it, so that's important. And this is what I mean by, like, if you place enough torches, you kind of make a whole area of your world impossible for mob spawning. Sorry about that. You make an entire part of the world impossible for mob spawning, and that's why I made every part of my road, so I could run along the road at night, lit up. And you can kind of see, actually, it's really cool to see the road at night, the big road at least at night, because you can see how there's just like this continuous lighting, and it looks really good. Wood factory thing, not lit up at night. I guess, and even the section of the road isn't. So I think, I think we've learned that we need to cover the world in torches. Maybe that's like a lesson for next week. But maybe we should just make like an inventory full of torches, like 1,000 torches, like 1,500 torches, like enough torches that we just have too many torches, and that's a thing. So then finally, this is the thing I wanted to see. This, it just looks like daytime in this desert, honestly. Like, it looks like there's a few dark structures or lighting glitches, but the desert just looks like it's daytime. There is so much light coming from here. It is absurd to see what this looks like. This is so crazy. Okay, let's do one more flyby, actually. So we'll go back up. You can see this sky row wasn't lit, though, for some reason. Some random torches over there. And then this is just absurdly well lit. This is like the bastion of lighting. This is like 2,000, 3,000 torches. It is so absurd to see. And it's actually really, really fun to see, in my opinion. So yeah, that is what my world looks like at night. This is the most exciting bit. I feel like nothing's going to compare to that now. But we'll check out the rest of the world. Again, you can really see, every now and then I decide to place like 3 or 4 torches. And you can see them all individually. And that's kind of something fun that you might not have ever done in your Minecraft world. Then maybe this inspires you to do. So I hope you did all enjoy this episode of the Minecraft Xbox Update Adventures Let's Play. If you did like it, you can like the video and let me know, because it helps out the channel and lets me know you do enjoy this sort of video. Share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. I know I need to work more on the giant Death Star thing, by the way. I'll get to that, don't worry. But it's just like such a huge thing. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I guess I'll see you all next time.